Parker, welcome to the cave.
All right. Thank you for having me, Elias. Good to be here.
Thank you for giving me a few minutes today to talk about, the listeners and the viewers tune in for this interview. Your latest project, Icon, which I watched it last night. Man, this movie pulls you all over the place with a lot of emotions, huh?
Yeah, it really does. There's a lot going on throughout.
So, really quick, what are you hoping for when the viewers tune in for the first time to watch this movie? What are you hoping to get out of it?
Sure. I think there's a lot of concepts that can be taken away after watching this film. I think what's unique about about Icon, is that it kind of looks at the male side of teenage pregnancy and exactly what the male in that situation is going through. So the character of Sam is present throughout the entire movie, which was definitely nerve-wracking to take on at first, knowing that there wouldn't be a scene in which I'm not featured. But I hope that people take away the fact that, there are, excuse the thunder in the background there.
That's right.
I hope that people take away that there are role models in life that you may be blind to before something happens to really make you see that they've been there for you the entire way. So Sam has this whole idea of his father who, he was a criminal, and Sam only has so much he can remember from his childhood. And he kind of paints his father out to be this magnificent crime boss who did what he could to support his family. And Sam thinks in his mind that he's got those big shoes to fill, but he becomes kind of blind to the fact that there are people around him, women in his life, even such as his mom and Anna, that are really there supporting him the entire way, that he realizes that he shouldn't have been pushing them away this entire time. So I think that it's a movie about role models. It's a movie about choice, especially in today's world. There are tons of choices that need to be made throughout, and having those freedoms is important as well. So I think there's a lot of things that can be taken away, and I think everyone will have their own unique take on the film. And that's up to the individual viewer. And whatever happens, I hope that the message they take away is a powerful one.
Right. Now, how were you approached for Icon in the role of Sam? Tell us about your audition also.
Sure. So I'll start with a little bit of background. I did have the pleasure of working with Tony on my first feature film called Surviving Lunch. Okay. He was on the crew of that film, and we kind of hit it off. And he had mentioned, be on the lookout. I would love to have you in an upcoming film potentially. About a year and a half later, he texted me, said, "I'd like for you to audition for this new film, Icon." I sent him in a video audition, and then we did an in-person callback. And a couple of days later, I was honored to hear that I had gotten the role of Sam. My process from that point on, in terms of creating the character of Sam, was a very personal one, I would say. The character of Sam has a lot going on in his mind. And for me, it was important to really get to the root of what makes Sam tick, be it his favorite songs, what an average playlist would be that Sam listens to, or what his favorite movies are and what he draws inspiration from, and who are the people in his life that maybe aren't explicitly mentioned in the script or aren't seen on film. What are all of these external factors that make Sam who he is? So for me, it was important to have those kind of shine through to create hopefully what is a natural experience for the viewer, what is an honest performance, and one in which viewers can really connect with this character and feel his emotions as he's going through them.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Icon was also a short film at first, right?
Yes. So Tony wrote the original idea back in 2014. When he was a student, he created a short film called Icon, which had some parallels, but of course it was only, I believe, 6 or 7 minutes long. So in 2018, he fleshed it out into an entire feature-length script, and we shot it in 2019. So yes, it did develop from an award-winning, actually, short film that he kind of fleshed out and made it into what it is now.
Right. Now, did you go back and watch it just to get an idea about Sam also?
Only after.
Okay.
I did not watch it prior to us creating the movie. I didn't really want to end up mimicking that storyline or draw too much that would lead me to not making it my own, if that makes sense. So yeah, that goes for anything. If if there's a character that I think is similar to Sam, I'll kind of stay away from that until after, just because I really want to make sure that this performance is unique, and that it's not just a copy of something that had been done prior.
What do you think was the biggest challenge playing this character? Because like I said, he's going through a lot throughout this whole film. You know, there's times where you're angry. Other times you can tell your character gets depressed in certain scenes, you know?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge was actually an external factor. There was a scene that we shot in a pool at a motel, and it's a very personal scene between Sam and Anna, and there's a lot that's shared, but it was also what felt like negative 40 degrees outside. And granted, we're filming in Florida, and I was born and raised in Florida, so I'm not too used to the cold, but to be in only a bathing suit and submerged in water for that entire take, with it being as cold as it was incredibly difficult to get the lines out without hearing the absolute tremble in my voice. Emotionally speaking, it was, as you said, a roller coaster. And it was very challenging, but I think that's what made it so rewarding in the end as well. There's a scene in which I don't want to give too much away, but Sam has a heart-to-heart essentially with his mom at one point in the film, and that was a very emotional experience on set even too. So we had a bare bones crew. And anyone who did not need to be there for that scene was not there, and it was definitely an emotional experience, and you can tell when you go back and watch it. So it was a roller coaster, and I think that was the fun of playing Sam, is how many different mindsets he kind of has throughout.
Right. We mentioned the character of Anna was played by Devon. The chemistry between you two now, like how do you describe that chemistry working with her?
Yeah, I mean, Devon is a great actress. The chemistry on set was phenomenal, not just between myself and Devon, but the entire cast and crew. There was something really special that was going on, and it was amazing being there in those moments and knowing that we were all creating something that we knew was going to end up being, awesome. So working with Devon, we had one day of rehearsal before we started shooting, and that was it. And to be honest, we had to kind of just jump right in. So the first scenes that we shot were more intimate scenes, and from that point on, everything was easy because we had already become acclimated to this kind of atmosphere. Tony did a really good job as well of creating a comfortable workspace for everybody. Always kept it professional on set. So yeah, I'm glad that chemistry does shine through, because the relationship that Sam and Anna have is tumultuous, but there is also that underlying, love that they have for one another, that they just want to make sure that the other one is okay in the end.
Right. Favorite moment of the film?
Watching it or shooting it?
Both.
Okay. My favorite in watching is probably, again, I'm going to go into spoiler territory right now. So if you haven't seen it, skip ahead. But if you have, or you don't mind some spoilers, then keep on listening. There's a scene at the end of the film in which young Sam is running out of a tunnel and in towards, a figure that's standing at the end of the tunnel. And it's shown throughout the film, but the figure at the end of the tunnel is just simply silhouetted. But when it comes down to it and you realize that the idea that Sam had for his dad wasn't all he thought it was, and that it was his mom all along that was there to support him. And when young Sam comes out of that tunnel and his mom is actually the one that picks him up and hugs him, when you were led to believe that it was really his dad, I think that is my favorite moment to go back and watch. My favorite to shoot was probably the party scene that we had. So that was a very tense moment in the film. There's some action that goes on, some argumentative dialogue, and to have all of those people there and for so much to occur within that one scene. We actually used Tony's mom's house for that party scene as well, which was a trip to say the least. But that was just a lot of fun because you really had everyone there. Everyone was having a good time. While we weren't throwing an actual party, it did kind of have a party-like atmosphere. So I would say that was probably my favorite, actually being on set.
Now, Icon gets released August 1st.
Yes, it'll be out on all digital platforms August 1st. You'll be able to catch it on Amazon, on Blu-ray, and a select variety of streaming platforms as well.
Parker, this was great. Thank you for giving me a few minutes today to talk about Icon.
Absolutely, Elias. Thank you for having me.